Alright, well, I'm back on again. But it takes time for it to show up in music. There's other music channels. There's... Fuck, you know what? I can't even do it now because it shows up there, but I don't know. It's supposed to be... There's supposed to be music creating or something. Create... Fuck, I don't know what the hell the fucking thing is. But that pisses me off that I don't show up on there. It's very depressing, you know, when you work on music and shit, and you don't get no viewers. Of fucking anyway. Where's the other channel? Anyway. So what am I gotta go back over here and fucking do this one now. It's like, you know, God damn it, you would show up on that hole. Alright, back to the freaking website. I'll send it to YouTube. Maybe I'll get more viewers at some point in fucking life. Yeah, what's he just gonna show the fucking connections? He's not gonna explain anything? Drum. That's coming from that thing. Now he's actually controlling that thing, but he doesn't. Is it the drum set? It just has it set to out. There's no information on that fucking MIDI output anywhere on that fucking thing. Okay, so what he's doing, he's using the MIDI patterns from this and sending it to the controller, which you could actually save the MIDI pattern on the XR20 and send it out, but would you want to do that? If I make a MIDI pattern and send it out to Ableton at the same time, or I don't know, there's a couple things. You can save the MIDI pattern, which is really kind of redundant. It's better to do the audio and just call it My Beats or something into a WAV file. But if you use this fucking feature, and then you play like this, there's a delay. Now that I think of it. There's a delay if you use the USB MIDI, but if you use the regular MIDI cables, like you showed earlier in the thing here, there's actually no delay. And when I used the other keyboard I got to control, there actually wasn't any delay. But if you go from the keyboard to the software, there's a delay and it's just totally fucked. So you can only play a loop, save it on Ableton. You know how these people get Ableton to loop their shit back, and it's kind of a thing that I want to get into, I guess. It's called live looping. So really hasn't, this guy ain't showed me anything. He's showing me the cables. Yeah, there's 2 cables. Okay, so what? Yeah, the XR20, yeah, there's 2 cables. It doesn't say a goddamn thing about it. He only shows the drum thing on the controller. What a dumbass tutorial. Oh, he clicked system setup on there, which you could barely fucking see. Look at him hide everything. Drum out is off. Drum out is on. Now he's pushing a bunch of buttons on there. Play, record. Yeah, I'm gonna save this video because I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I know I've been streaming this too fucking long. I wonder what other kind of shit he's got on here. Sunday evening jam. That was a month ago. "17 views. Pocket operator." What is this? What the fucking hell? What the I'm not gonna look at that on my stream. This dude's kind of radical. Jesus, look at all the cables and shit. He's putting his shit on TikTok. Goddamn fucking, can't he keep the lights the same? Alright, enough of that bullshit. The last digital drum machine. As a drum module. Okay, what's MIDI tracks? MIDI tricks 3 through 5. Let's see what this person's got here. Am I oh shit, I got the thing off. Video. Let's look for, why can't I search XR? XR20. Supposed to be able to search on his freaking channel. Well, that's 5 years ago. Alright, what do we got? Milner, Red Neil Life, what the hell that is. Unboxing a keyboard, unboxing the XR20. His mixer, he unboxed all his stuff. I thought unboxing was supposed to be XR20 review, blah, 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 blah. Spice up your beats. I could actually save. Let's copy this and let's see, XR20 tips. I don't have my stuff connected, but XR tricks. No, I don't know tricks. Using as a drum module. Saving battery life on your XR20. Recording audio on your computer. He's got recording audio on your computer still. I don't know what that rig is he's got there. Now, I think I've got this mixer. I think this is the one that I ordered. I don't see anything else on here.
Hey guys, so today is my 2012.
I don't have that mixer. I got a different one.
Some kind of pseudo scratching, which might sound cool in some moments, to the pads in a convenient for you way. What you need to do is create a custom drum set. So if you watched my previous videos, you know what I'm talking about. If not, read your user manual. Hey guys, today is November 19, 2011, and this is very short video just to show you a very little trick how to save battery life on your Akai XR20. So let's assume that you have XR20 running on batteries and you're outside and you're low on battery, as you can see here. So you want to play a little bit longer, you don't have a spare batteries back in you, so this is what you can do. First, system setup. Okay, then with the page right button you navigate until you see LEDs on. You turn the dial
LEDs is
once.
LEDs. You don't even know how to fucking pronounce it.
Okay, this is what this do. Now you just turned the LEDs of the pads off. Everything is still operational. You press this page once more, and backlight, de facto, this controls the brightness of the screen. The bigger the number, the brighter the screen. See? So you turn this thing to off. And finally you press system setup once again to return to your pattern screen or whatever. And now you have Akai XR20 fully operational. for low batteries. I forgot to tell you just one more thing. Your XR20, you can use it as an expansion drum module if you have one of these. So these are digital electronic drums, and you can connect XR20 with your drums using MIDI, and you can use your drums to trigger sounds from XR20.
Oh fuck,
So
I
how
don't
to do
want to
this?
go that
First thing that you
way.
need is a cable like this. So
Well, let's just watch this.
this is standard MIDI cable. So as you can see on both ends, it does have 5-pin connectors.
Do I get the other?
So what you do, you connect one end in the MIDI out of your drum kits, and the other end goes
MIDI
straight
and
into the MIDI in of your Akai XR20. What is the result of this? The result is that when you hit here with the drumstick, you will hear the sound from here, and in this situation your drum module becomes just a trigger. So I will make a demonstration right now. As you can see, Cubase is already recording, so we can start experimenting here. Right now I will play the drums, and whatever you hear will be triggered on the drums and will sound from Akai XR20. So let's start. For the purpose of this demo, what I'm using is Yamaha DT Explorer, and as you can see, the main outputs are not plugged in, so we will not use the sound of the Yamaha DT Explorer itself. The sound will go straight from Akai XR20. Oh yeah, and I have very cool sticks, which I
don't really
love.
care about your drumsticks.
So speaking of Yamaha
I
DT
ate
Explorer,
chicken breast.
I will make another video specifically for
Who's he gonna
reviewing
play or what
the
the
DT
hell?
Explorer drum set right now. Let's try and hit some cool bass drum. So we need to switch the drum set here with something else. Drum kit will be more geared toward drummers. The Explorer drum kit, it will be more geared toward drummers. If you're, if I'm mistaken something, you can correct me.
MIDI adapter, how to upgrade. What is this one? What is this? That's good. Transfer beats to computer. Okay. Okay, that's what we're looking for. History of electronic drums. Let's see what he's got going here. Bad gear. Yeah, no shit. Now we might get ads coming on. Yep. Yeah, let's play your stupid ads. Well, I'm way ahead of you, so FO.
to this. Triggering high-end drum samples via MIDI commands. Those are some SmartWave 2 and MIDI-compatible drum modules of the most mm cable to feed the aux in.
Alright, well that's bullshit. Every one of these things is giving me ads.
There.
Good evening, my friends. This is all right.
One thing, if you play a bunch of videos on YouTube, they may start stopping to put the ads in, but you gotta kind of click through half a dozen times and see if YouTube fucks you over.
This Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. Today we are going to talk about the Akai XR20. This 2008 sample-based drum machine with a little twist is of course not the last of its kind, as the clickbait title might suggest. But it's close. It was an era of software instrument dominance, and Sound on Sound noted that they hadn't reviewed a Rompler drum machine for almost 10 years back then. Being an Akai instrument and showing some resemblance to the 2007 MPC 500, the XR20 was mainly aimed at the urban music crowd and is 0 years AF. It not only makes heavy use of eyeball-melting blue LEDs that seemed to be everywhere during the noughties, it is also loaded to the brim with hard-hitting hip-hop samples and offers a wide range of features Akai was and still is loved for. Let's take a closer look. At the first glance, the Akai XR20 is ticking almost all the boxes. MPC-style drum pads, generic mid-0 years UI elements, lots of rubber buttons and a pretty usable display. The rear panel offers standard MIDI I/O, a mic input without gain control and, yeah, multiple outputs.
Yeah,
there
but
is
you
no
can barely fucking
USB
hear
port, but
anything.
Akai included foot switch jacks for hands-free operation, an essential feature for instrumentalists, but I was wondering what rappers would need it for. Speaking of the rear panel, the XR20 bears striking similarities to the 2009 Alesis SR18 drum machine, which is more or less the same instrument with a different set of samples and a slightly modified user interface. The sample-based engine of the XR20 can be broken down to 3 segments. Drum for drums, one-shots for scratches, O's, R's, yeahs, and hits, and a synth section consisting of a basic polyphonic rompler. 785 lo-fi samples are squeezed into the 32 MB ROM and can be played with a maximum total polyphony of 32. Frequent viewers of this show know me as a lover of cheesy preset rhythms, and although I like the sample set as a whole, the factory patterns of the XR20 sound, at least in my humble opinion, like the mixtape of an 8-year-old using 2004 Fruity Loops.
Yep. That don't sound bad. I like that one. I like that beat.
Outside of the preset pattern context, the sample library is nothing but a collection of mostly classic sounds that feel at home in many genres. The synth section is a hodgepodge of Rompler staples.
That don't sound too bad.
And you can tweak a stripped down envelope and the cutoff of the slightly disappointing filter.
Yeah.
I was
slightly.
surprised by the versatility of the sequencer. Sure, there are some evil quirks, like quantization and swing can only be applied during recording and the machine won't remember important settings after being powered off, but every section of the XR20 has its own track and MIDI channel, it's polyphonic, there's note repeat, and you can sequence external gear. Nice. Step edit mode does its job, patterns can be triggered Ableton style using the pads, and there's a song mode I will probably never use. The AB fill system is great for live performances. Akai included an FX section with a more than usable reverb. The preset-based mastering EQ and compressor didn't do much for me, but it gave me a chuckle with its country setting. MIDI implementation is adequate, there's a battery compartment, I prefer the pads to those on the MPC 500, build quality is plasticky but okay, and operation of the machine is straightforward. You can find one in good condition for well below 200 tokens of appreciation. The Akai XR20 seems like a complete package for music production, especially for all things hip-hop. Is it the swan song of the bygone era of Rumpler drum machines? You have already heard the XR20 in our little intro tune. Very functional but a tad cold and harsh. The ideal candidate for the Moog filter we haven't heard in a while on this channel.
Fucking god, what is the thing here? Here we go, these stupid fucking ads again. Yeah, let's play another 5-second ads, because I really don't give a fuck. I knew it was gonna happen sooner or later.
I would dance to this. The auxiliary outputs add to the versatility of the drum machine, and the samples take external FX well. There's not a lot of depth or subtlety, but I'm sure it's a lot of fun on a big PA system. Most people wouldn't think of the XR20 as a centerpiece of more elaborate setups. Let's put it to the test as a sequencer and MIDI clock for external gear. That worked like a charm, and it's good to know that it can be used for more relaxed tunes too. A little sampler like the SU10 is a great complement to the XR20 if you want to use it as the backbone of a DAW-less setup. It is not always easy to handle the bass content of the drum machine's output, and I finally found a genre for the last track of this episode where excessive bass is not only tolerated, it's mandatory. Let's show no mercy in this footwork revival when Deep Dish Pizza Future Bass Boombox Murderer. Verdict. The Akai XR20 is a solid, affordable and easy to use drum machine, and in spite of a few quirks, it works great as both a standalone instrument and part of a studio or live setup. However, the overall sound of the XR20 is not exactly well balanced. Adding insult to injury, the sample library is a snapshot of what Akai considered hip and trendy almost 15 years ago, and it is questionable whether the 2021 hip-hop crowd appreciates this particular kind of retro flavor. The Akai XR20 can be seen as the hardware incarnation of that folder on your hard disk which contains all those sturdy little samples that have accumulated over the years. It won't hold up against today's multi-gigabyte sample instrument, but it is the ideal tool for creating your next genre-defying dance floor banger. Thanks for watching and...
So there's stuff in here like tutorials and shit.
It's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, great, loud and clear. Right. Okay. So here is how this is set up before we get into the actual session thing itself, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit confusing. So out at the back of the Akai XR20, which is controlling everything.
Good.
Okay. So it comes MIDI out into MIDI in on the Uno synth.
That's
so
a
the MIDI out
sequencer.
at the back to MIDI in. The settings here in system setup here, I don't know if you can see, but if we scroll along, so
I don't know if that actually shows up on the stream. Clock in, off. Okay, so now this is something else that guy didn't show you. I don't know. I'm gonna look at my. Oh yeah, I guess it does. No, it doesn't. It's gotta be moved. I can't really move it. You can barely see where it says clock in off on here, so let me just back up here.
into MIDI in on the Uno synth.
So it's
So
clock
the
in
MIDI
is
out at the
off.
back to MIDI in. The settings here in system setup here, I don't know if you can see, but if we scroll along, so clock in is off, but clock out is on.
Okay.
But MIDI through is off. We don't need MIDI through for this. Okay, so we can go back to that law. Right, this will be hit drum set. And again. And so MIDI out to MIDI in. And then MIDI out is going into the key step as well. And then just the MIDI out from the key step is controlling, is being able to play this. But because if you go into the Uno synth editor, I really missed this. No, I've only just started. If you go into the Uno synth editor on the iPad or desktop or whatever, or in our case, guys, the iPad, you need to change the MIDI settings to MIDI through, to soft through, because otherwise this won't work. So because we want the information that's coming from the clock going in to pass through into the information going in to the Art Audio key step. Otherwise, none of this it just won't work.
So now
Okay.
there's another thing. There's if I click out MIDI out on that XR20, there's what's called MIDI mapping, and so every button that I push will have a MIDI map number. And number one, I'm wanting to just have it be a drum controller for my keyboard. That's number one. Number two, I'd like to be able to save the patterns and reload them on the computer like I do with the keyboard, so I don't see that happening.
So,
yet.
Here we go. So what we're going to do is
This
we're going
is
to
an
blast
hour-long
through.
video.
Swig of Coke here. So here we go. Let's do this.
And I don't know why I got this XR20. I thought the beats were good. I thought I could, do some stuff, make some drum beats, and have that go along with my other stuff that I'm working on. When I got the XR20 and I started listening to the drum beats and everything on there, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This sounds like shit. But I got a nice machine that's got some things on here that may be advantageous to controlling some software. You know, it's just a bunch of buttons, and it's kind of big. You know, I could probably got it done better with, and I've got other controllers that do things, but they don't really show you like what's what and everything. So, there's A and B. Maybe that changes programs or some stuff. Who knows?
And I'll turn the mic out while I'm doing this, and then we'll jam with this for a little bit, and then we can have another mess around with different bits and pieces. So it's mainly a jam. So feel free to comment as it goes, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But all the mixes obviously going into my mixer, which you can't see, but you know, we could have actually. I did have this set up with the iPad as well, but you can't see the iPad. It's not plugged in now, but you can't see it. So I'm going to have to work out some other way to get the iPad in screen, or get the you know.
Bleeding gums.
Oh my fucking god! Shut up and go away, fucker.
Healing them from day one.
Oh Jesus! With his fucking ads just popping right in, you know. Goddamn fucking horse shit. I'm gonna scroll through here and see if there's more fucking ads gonna pop in on my ass. They do it based on time. He's using the pad to hit the notes on this keyboard. And that keyboard he's got, I saw that in another video, that's got an arpeggio generator thing on there. He changed something on here, I don't know what he did.
Yeah, I started to get carried away there. So, what do you think then? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think about it? So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I enjoyed that. This is the really air movement modulation is superb. So that's the kind of the neutron sound. What we got here with the volume. The kind of hey, Rustique. I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's pretty cool beans. But it's easy to set stuff up. Let's see if we can set. How long did we do that for? 16 minutes. Cool beans. Well, let's set a new one up. Hang on. So you how pretty simple it is. Did you like that, Joe?
MIDI set.
Joe, did you like that? Joe doesn't normally like the blippy bloppy. So let's see. Let's start with this. Let's set another 12A empty. Let's get a drum set. And
now, he's using the sound from this.
okay.
That's the sound coming from the output of that Akai,
Sensible sound.
which I don't even like. And he's got the sound from that going to the mixer, plus the sound from the keyboard and the other things going into a mixer. And the clock is on, so it controls the MIDI of the other devices.
I'm going to use this sound.
running.
I'll just set up something quick. Let's see. What do I need to do to start with?
But it
this?
still doesn't go
so
into
I don't
the
want
programming
to
of the MIDI
start
outs.
anything off.
on the Akai.
So I'm going to take the MIDI channel here in sync and set it to USB, and that way nothing will happen when I press play on here. Great. Or play on here. Right. Super. Because it's looking for USB MIDI. So I'm going to quickly record a pattern over like a couple of bars, which will be automatic. I think the pattern is empty because it's yeah, an empty pattern. So what was firing? Ah, right. Cool. What's happening now is it's passing MIDI through, so it's setting off the sequencer on this. So I need to turn the sequence. I need what the easiest thing to do is just turn the. I'll just turn the head down on that, so we don't hear it. So let's tempo. What tempo we can leave on? Well, let's say tempo different, something different. Let me see now. Where's me? What's it? Tempo. We'll set it 100.
Yeah, the tempo, you got to hold that button down
Okay.
to make a change. Which
And
is
I'll leave it on the
weird.
default, which is 2 bars. So.
Tell us what you think about our new
fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. Shut up and fuck off. And everything else. Jesus Christ, there's an ad every goddamn 5 minutes in these fucking videos. No wonder, and nobody can listen to any videos or nothing. That's why you gotta keep videos short and sweet on fucking YouTube, and I've been streaming for 3 hours almost already. Goddamn fucking ads. Look at that, I'm just still sitting here waiting for this fucking ad to go through. So like I said, he's using the sound, the output of the sound of the Kai, which I don't want to do.
Set it back to.
I'm using it strictly as a controller. Maybe I can control 2 different things at the same time with it, like
External.
some things on the
receive
software,
information
plus
from
the
there.
drums on the
And
keyboard
let's
type
choose
of
a
thing.
new sound.
So that's pretty much all he's doing here. So that's enough of that video. Transfer beats, no. No. As a drum module, did I go through this? I did. I don't need that. I don't need that.
There's no music, so let's record. It's recording with glowing eyes.
Welcome everybody to Recording with Glowing Ice. As you can see, I have the Akai Professional XR20 Beat Production Center. It's a beat production center. It's not just a drum machine, as the layman would call it. Also, I have my Korg Micro Korg synthesizer here.
Ooh, that's what
and we're
the
just going to
Micro
do a
Korg
little
looks
jam,
like.
just something kind of laid back. Something for the ladies, something that would just like,
Yeah,
just
that's really
imagine like
nice.
a late night drive. You just.
Why don't we go? I want to go to see if I can find my shit again. $10, it's not on there. How much you want to bet on it? I could go low to high, couldn't I? See, I don't know why I can't find this damn fucking knob. I'm in dark mode and I can't see shit on here. So, you know what I think you gotta do when you stream on music? Look at this. There's so many fucking people with just 1 and 2 views. Why that one's got 40 and it's sitting there, I have no fucking idea. It's because there's people doing so many repeat streams. You know, look at all of this 1 viewers. Fuck. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother looking. There's just too many of them. The idea is to get the shit on YouTube with the title so people can look for MIDI stuff and then they find your channel if you're fucking lucky enough.
Went to the casino and you took your gal out. She put on some high heels and a
Jesus
skin
Christ, just
tight
get to the
track
show.
for that. And so what I would do first I would make a beat first and then just kind of have like a basic loop. And then I would put over whatever, some kind of...
Okay, so what you do is you set up your keyboard, you know your MIDI channel numbers, and you know the numbers on the keyboard wherever the drums are. You got to figure that out. And then now you know which pad goes to what key on the keyboard. But different patterns on the keyboard come up with different areas and they're not lined up and everything. There's different drum sets, programs, and shit like that for the Korg. You know, and I when I used the keyboard, the other keyboard controller, it seemed like it was almost instant. The MIDI was like instant. So it's got to be the same with this thing. I just got to figure out how to get it to work.
A synthesizer pad or whatever, and then just build on it. And I would throw everything in there, whatever I felt like putting in there. Just layer upon layer of different tracks and synths and drums and whatever. But this is just like a fun little jam thing. This ain't going to be like a full, complete song or anything like that. But I just want to, like, you know, this is just going to be a jam session. You could kind of listen in on the process of how things are recorded, and if you're watching the video, you'll.
I don't know if that's an audio cable. That's a MIDI cable.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start with the drum beat. So let's turn on the Akai Professional XR20 drum machine. And like I said, we're going to do something that's kind of slow. We're not going to do anything fun and fast. Well, this is fun, but you know what I mean. Just very moving, very hot. We'll save that for another video. This is just going to be just a little warm-up, just even for myself. So first thing we did here was we turned on the drum machine. So you hear all that? Very, very fun. Very.
Well, how the hell did you fucking turn the drum machine on?
Snare.
I didn't fucking see it.
Okay, so a little warm-up, just even for my drum machine. Things are recorded, and if you're watching the video, you'll see it. Yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start with the drum beat. So let's turn on the Akai Professional XR20 drum machine. And like I said, we're going to do something that's kind of slow. We're not going to do anything fun and fast. Well, this is fun, but you know what I mean. Just very moving, very hot. We'll save that for another video. This is just going to be just a little warm-up, just even for myself. So first thing we did here was we turned on the drum machine. So you hear all that? Very, very fun. Very. That snare really snaps. So what we'll do to create our own beat is we'll hit the preset user button on the Akai drum machine. And these are all beats I've had saved in here for years. But I know number 46 on here, file 46 is empty. Okay, so there's nothing now. All right, we'll work with that. That's all we need. And now the beat is going in a loop of a measurement of 8. And yeah, so
you set up the beat, I guess.
Now it's time to choose our drum machine. So
drum set.
There's all different kinds of presets in here. So we're gonna have to do something else here. I really like this, but I don't like that bass drum. So let's keep moving. Nope. Nope.
No. This is what I did when I first.
All right, I'm liking this one. I'm digging this one. All right, so let's figure out a tempo for this. So a slow jam would be maybe a ta, 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 ta.
What the fuck? He's just messing with the sound on there, and he's not showing the other.
All right, that's a little too aggressive of a bass line, actually. We got our drums and we got our bass here. Now it's time for the microKORG. So let's just set this off to the side here.
Tooth decay?
Oh, fuck off! No, I don't get goddamn fucking tooth decay. Your ass does. Goddamn sick fucking ads on goddamn fucking YouTube. You get to watch me cuss about the ads, that fucking retarded ads that come on YouTube. They're disgusting.
Because we know how to work the drum machine now. Let's
what I think he's doing.
Let's turn on the microKORG
no
here,
MIDI.
and let's find
there's a MIDI, but
something for. Is just usually the keyboard style. Motor. See?
Yeah, but he's not. If you record something on here.
Okay, so I think we found our sound here.
Yeah.
The key is in C, so this is the C chord, I think. C? Yeah, C. All right, here we go.
He's not sequencing.
Action.
So that was a total waste of a video.
Go in. Stop the beat for a minute here. Me the question of how to connect the Akai XR20 drum machine, beat production center, whatever you want to call it, to your laptop to record your beats onto, various digital audio workstations. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to do it.
You are? Okay.
The first step is, of course, to connect the left and right audio outs using these cables.
What's our shit?
And then we're going to connect it into the audio inputs of some sort of audio capture device. In this case, it is the propeller head's balance audio interface. You have the audio going into the computer
What is
using
this garbage
this.
covering up the fucking video?
Then, the important thing is, if you're recording in a digital audio workstation, you want the timing to be exact. So, I also have these MIDI plugs going out from the back of the unit into this, which is a USB to MIDI converter. You plug this into your laptop here.
Okay, number one, you don't want to do that because that's fucking delay right there, so I don't know what the fuck he's doing yet.
Then, it allows you to connect the MIDI.
Yeah.
Now, some audio interfaces have built-in MIDI, so you can do that in one box. In this case, I'm doing it with two separate devices. But it works.
Does it?
And I will show you.
Alright, you do that. playing the drums.
Alright, I'm going to show you where these connections go in.
Yeah.
Stop the beat for a minute here.
Yeah, okay.
This should look familiar, of course. The main right and the main left outputs are with the drum machine. Now, this is your interface that's just... you what this is? This is the USB to MIDI converter. In this case, it is a Yamaha, but there are many brands. Basically, every company now has, when you do a collab or something. On my digital audio workstation, you notice I'm playing my entire beat here. Now, this is all very well and good, but if I want to do complicated mastering features on my digital audio workstation, I may want to record different parts of my beat out separately. Like in this case, I've just turned on the synth bass, so I'm going to record that, and then I might turn on the background samples here, the so-called one-shots on this unit.
Why is he holding that fucking
you know, various all built-in samples. They come licensed to use with the unit, so you're clear.
Channels on the fucking
and then, of course, the main drums. It's always good to have your main drums separate from everything else. So, you know, think systematically. Because then you can go back into your digital audio workstation, adjust the different levels, EQ, compression, all of these advanced studio tracks. At all, the other thing I can do using the MIDI connection is, instead of using the sounds of this machine at all, I can send MIDI notes, just like from a keyboard, to the Kong over in Reason on my laptop. So these all correspond to buttons on the screen. So now I'll play the same beat, but because it's going into different sounds, it will sound mostly different. Basic rhythm will be the same, but listen.
What a piss poor fucking video. Jesus Christ. There's nothing on here. Oh, what's this video? I'm gonna listen to this. Diana Turner's, yeah, I saw that fucking video. You know, I don't give a fuck about Dunkin's except when I'm going to go get a donut. YouTube, I don't know, you know, it's just fucking annoying. What the fuck is this? Just sounds coming out of the box? No, that's a piece of shit. Well, I've done the best I can to get information, and it's like I've told you, nothing. I'm gonna have to learn it myself. There's nothing on here. Everything about MIDI and recording. Let's look at this one. This is,
MIDI only transmits data on how something is played. What key is pressed? That message is called note on, and when it's released, that's called note off. It's basically that simple. And that's what the first MIDI interfaces could do. Of course, it didn't stay at that level. For example, many keyboards also transmit how fast a key was pressed. That's called velocity, and it's normally used to control volume. You may have heard of it as touch sensitivity. There's a whole set of MIDI commands for volume, panning, pitch bend, modulation, sustain, program change, and so on. And that's why all the MIDI master keyboards have a bunch of assignable knobs. You can connect several devices in a row. That's what MIDI through is for. It passes the incoming messages directly to the next device. And the best thing is, it's also possible to record and playback the MIDI messages with a sequencer. But this wouldn't be very effective if all the connected devices played the same. That's why MIDI supports up to 16 channels. Select a MIDI receive channel for each instrument, and you can play several devices one by changing the transmit channel on the master keyboard. Or use a sequencer to play all the instruments simultaneously. Most of the people use a computer and a sequencer software to do this. That's why the standard MIDI interface changed into a USB MIDI interface. But you can still find the old connectors on professional equipment. The PSSA 50 has such a USB MIDI interface. It has 3 functions: power supply, MIDI in and out, and you only need one cable for that. The only drawback is that you cannot connect it directly to other USB or standard MIDI devices. It only works with a computer. But then you can use the PSSA 50 to build your own little MIDI home studio, because it can act as a master keyboard, and it's a so-called multi-timbral device. It can play back 16 of its voices at the same time. You only need a MIDI recording program, and the best thing is, you can get one for free. These programs are called Digital Audio Workstations, short DAW or DAW. They can handle MIDI and audio as well. You should download the standard USB MIDI driver from the Yamaha website. Turn off Auto Power Off, so it's not automatically switched off while Cakewalk is running. Otherwise, you would have to restart the program. Now start Cakewalk and open an empty project. This may look a bit complicated at first, but the basic functions are easy to learn. Open the preferences. Don't worry about audio right now. You don't need an audio device to run the program. And first I'm going to show you what you can do with the sounds of the PSSA 50 only. Go to MIDI devices and select Digital Keyboard. This is the PSSA 50 for in and output. Create a MIDI track by right-clicking on this area. Don't mix up MIDI track and MIDI channel. A MIDI track can record and playback MIDI data, and it can contain data for several or all MIDI channels. You can leave the input at Omni. That means this track receives on all MIDI channels. Set the output to Digital Keyboard. You see some activity on the meters. But what happens is, you hear a flanging effect. Because the sound is generated twice. Once directly while you are playing, and a second time after the MIDI messages have been routed to the computer and back to the keyboard. To avoid this, press Shift and Local off. That way only the MIDI messages coming back from the computer generate a sound. So now we could say we are in MIDI mode. Well, it doesn't feel like that, because you can do everything like before. Change the sound, use sustain, portamento, motion effects, and the arpeggiator.
Oh, this is different. He's saying local off, and he's running the sound into the computer and back. He's looping that sound back into the keyboard so you can hear what you're playing. But that's gonna be, I try to do that. You can't.
Select another sound to play along to the arpeggio and play back a phrase recording. But there is a big difference. Now all this data is transmitted to the computer and you can record it. This alone would be quite useful. All these different parts, the manual played voice, the arpeggio and the 2 voices of the phrase recording, are transmitted on separate MIDI channels and could also be recorded on 4 separate tracks. But there's a much better way to make recordings. As I said, the PSSA 50 is a multi-timbral device. That means it can play more than 1 voice at a time. You've already heard that it can play 4 voices at a time, but actually it can play 16 voices at the same time. Think of it as 16 synthesizers in one box. And each of these synthesizers, I'll call them parts, can be addressed on a separate MIDI channel. Press Shift and change the MIDI out channel to play one of these parts. On the first 4 channels we hear the voices that were just used in the small demonstration. All other parts are still set to piano by default. Except the one that receives on channel 10, which is set to drums. But there's a better way to select one of the 16 parts. Choose the corresponding MIDI channel over here, in the track inspector. Because now it doesn't matter which channel the incoming or recorded MIDI data has. All data will be transmitted back to the PSSA 50 on channel 10 and we hear the drums. So let's start with that. But I will save the project first. Name the track. It might be better to set up a metronome before we start recording. Click on the metronome icon. If you have no audio device installed, you can use MIDI. The click will be transmitted on channel 10. And this note will play a hi-hat. That's okay. But most of the times you will use a hi-hat while recording a beat. So it may be better to use a different percussion sound. Let's say the cowbell on G-sharp 4. We only need it during recording. And one measure count-in will be enough. Arm the track. And click on record. Well, this sounds like a second try. And if this was an audio recording, I would definitely do so. Double-click on the object. This is the piano roll editor, where you can see all MIDI notes as bars. You can add or delete a note, change the volume or the timing.
This is a really good video, but you know what? This is a very good video right here. Except he's using Cakewalk. Now I do got Cakewalk, but it would be like I use the other programs, and I'm running out of time. And even though he's using a keyboard, you can still use something else.
Or quantize SSA50. Numbers do not fit exactly. Project.
He's talking about
Expression,
quantization.
which is another
So that's a
volume
lot of
control,
DOS stuff
and
in
modulation.
there. This is plug-in.
Effect is a bit too strong. And change it to 74. All kinds. You can create a VST folder wherever you want. Install the plugin to that folder, go to Preferences, VST Settings, and add your VST folder to the list. Now you can load it. You can select some patches with the voice buttons, but since this is not a general MIDI device, the selection is rather random. A lot of VST instruments allow to assign MIDI control changes to the different parameters. This one also does. Right-click on a parameter, cutoff for example, click on MIDI Learn, and press the Motion Effects button. But remember, the button transmits a mix of control changes.
Yeah.
It's working, but we don't know which control change was assigned to this parameter. It seems to be the wrong one, because cutoff only jumps back and forth between two values. Therefore, we have to enter the right control change manually. Fortunately, it's possible, which is not the case with every VST instrument. Open the MIDI settings.
Yeah.
And change it to 74.
Ooh. That is tricky.
If you're not sure which control change you need, simply record the effect.
Record the
And
effect.
open the event list. This is another editor where you can easily add and delete single MIDI events.
That is a fucking
Control change
trick.
74 seems to be the right one. All others have only two values at the beginning and
Oh
end.
my god.
You can also use this recording if your software instrument has a MIDI learn mode but doesn't allow manual changes.
Yep.
I
know
would
how to
try
do that.
71 for resonance. Simply delete all other events and play the recording while the instrument is waiting for a control change.
What?
You can adjust the maximum and minimum value
guy
if the
is
effect is a
smart.
bit too strong.
There's a few people out there that are just really smart
Cutoff
with
and
this
resonance
stuff 'cause they've
jump
been
back to
doing
a
it
certain
all their
value
life
after using the
professionally,
effect,
you know?
because the effects are optimized for the sounds of the PSSA50. Try out some other motion effects. For example, C7. This features the control change 11. Assign it to noise. You are not limited to assign one parameter per control change. And you can also use the keys. which is a free version with limited functions.
Okay, that's really cute. Did I just AYG? Okay, I saved this one. What is, I want to look at this Keynon keys.
Chances are good that you have heard this one.
He's got reviews. PSS 480, the synth editor. Oh, he's the one that has that stuff? The music station. He's reviewing keyboards and stuff. That's it. So that was very informative. This part about recording, I want to look at that again.
But we don't know which control change was assigned to this parameter. It seems to be the wrong one, because cutoff only jumps back and forth between two values. Therefore, we have to enter the right control change manually. Fortunately, it's possible, which is not the case with every VST instrument. Open the MIDI settings and change it to 74. If you are not sure which control change you need, simply record the effect and open the event list. This is another editor where you can easily add and delete single MIDI events.
I downloaded...
Control change...
I downloaded... this program. It's controller. And I've got to reinstall that on my other thing. Yeah, I don't really care about all this other shit here. Let me just get program. I don't know why it's not showing up. Why isn't it fucking showing up YouTube? Properties. Controller, okay. So, yeah, but you can't see, if I click on, there's something in here. There's a MIDI monitor. It's a MIDI monitor program. So when we hit, when we connect MIDI input, this has got a MIDI monitor and it will tell me what the numbers are. And then I can go to my keyboard, which is my, well, any of the keyboards or whatever. Maybe I can use this for that, you know, and do that kind of thing. That'll be a separate stream. I gotta call it quits.